For smooth functioning, finances are also required, and complete freedom is given to them as far as their financial matters are concerned. Now, very important thing we have studied is that the federal system of government has dual objectives. They have two objectives: to safeguard and promote the unity of the country, as well as also maintain the integrity of the country. In dividing power, people should not be divided, the country should not be divided. So division of power should help in promotion of unity of the country and also maintain regional diversity of the country. Then I had taught you two types of federations: the coming together federations and holding together federations. In coming together federations, the coming together federation to form bigger unit, the independent states form bigger unit, the small independent states join together to form bigger units. This is called coming together federation, and this is found in the USA, Switzerland and Australia. Holding together federations, this is found in our country, India. In this, what happens? The country decides to divide its powers between the constituent states and the national government. Power is divided between the constituent states and the national government. The biggest example is our country, India. Then we have more examples: Spain and Belgium. They are also the examples of holding together federations. Then I had taught you that there are three lists in our country. The constitution has provided three important lists. The first is the union list, the second is the state list, and the third is the concurrent list. Now, in the union list, it includes subjects of national importance. The commonest example and a very important example is defense of the country, or you can say foreign affairs. All these are matters of national concern. So union lists include subjects which are of national importance. Then state lists, it contains those subjects which are of state or local importance, like agriculture, police, trade, commerce. Then third category was concurrent list. Concurrent list includes subjects which are common to both the union as well as the state government, like education, forest, trade unions, marriages, etc. Now, I had also told you that there is a fourth category also, residuary subjects. If you remember, residuary subjects means all those subjects which were added much later when the constitution was made are under this heading of residuary subjects, and a very important example of this is computer software. Then I had taught you that in this power sharing between the union and the state government, it is not easy to make changes in this power sharing arrangement. The parliament cannot make changes on its own. Any change to it has first to be passed by the houses of the parliament, and then it has to be ratified by the legislatures. The judiciary plays an important part in overseeing the implementation of constitutional provisions and procedures. That means the judiciary sees to it that all the provisions laid down in the constitution are strictly followed. Nobody violates the constitution, otherwise action can be taken against them. Then today we start I had taught you how is federalism practiced. Linguistic states, if you remember, there was a proposal that the creation of linguistic states was the first major step, and in 1947 boundaries of several states were changed in order to create new states. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language should live in the same area, and some drawbacks were also seen in this, but later on it was decided that the formation of linguistic states has made the country more united, and it has also made the administration easier. Then language policy. If you remember, in this we have studied that in India there are so many languages, 21 languages other than Hindi are present in our country. So it was decided earlier that there should be no national language and Hindi should continue. But there were some states who did not know how to speak Hindi, and they started revolting, and they pressurized that English should also be made to exist. So it was decided that Hindi and English both should prevail. Those which are Hindi speaking areas will use Hindi in their offices, in their work in the offices, whereas those which are those areas where people speak other languages, they can use either their regional language or they can do their official work in English. So this was a provision made for their help. The flexibility shown by the Indian political leaders helped our country avoid the kind of situation in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, only the Sinhalese language was allowed, but in our country, Hindi and English both were allowed, along with regional languages, so that the people could give their exams in their regional language, they could do their official work in their regional language or in English if they did not know Hindi. Then central state relations. Lot of emphasis was laid that there should be cordial and good relations between the center and the state. And as we have done so many times, the central government cannot pressurize the state governments to follow their instructions in every matter. A lot of autonomy, lot of freedom has been given to central government as well as the state government. And there were sometimes it was seen that if the ruling party, the party at the central level, if they are of a particular party and the party at the state level belongs to a different political party, then there was a lot of cordial relations were not found. So it was proposed to have coalition government. Thus started the era of coalition government. And in this, if there was no clear majority, if no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, then many national parties had to enter into an alliance to form the government. This was the starting of the coalition government in India. Then today we had started with decentralization of power. Decentralization means dividing power into 3 tiers. First is the central government, second is the state governments, and third is the local self-government or the local government. There was a need that the local self-government should be formed because the people who are living there, the local people, can best judge their problems, they can identify their problem, they can find out possible solutions for their problems, they can see how money can be distributed, how money can be spent, how resources can be used to solve their problems for the growth of their locality, for the development of their locality. So the need for local self-government arose in our country. At the village level, it is called as the Panchayati Raj. The Sarpanch is the head of the Gram Panchayat, I told you. Then in the district level, the few Gram Panchayats are grouped together to form a Panchayat Samiti or a block or a mandal. Then Panchayat Samitis or mandals in the districts join together to form the Zilla Parishad. In urban areas also, there are local governing bodies. Municipalities are found in big towns. Municipal corporations are found in big cities. The head of the municipality is the municipal chairperson. Head of the municipal corporation is the mayor. But it has been seen that 100% success to this local self-government has still not been achieved. Still they are facing some of the problems, some of the shortcomings, and more steps should be taken to give them freedom, to give them autonomy, so that local self-government can function more smoothly for success of democracy in our country. So this is the completion of the chapter. Please revise everything, children. Read the chapter once again, thoroughly, slowly, carefully, and if you have any doubt, you can put your questions in the comment box. Whatever doubts the children are putting, I am answering to those questions also. So you are most welcome to put up your doubts in the comment box so that I can answer you. Thank you.